Have you ever wondered how people dealt with a nasty cut or injury thousands of years ago, long before modern hospitals and antibiotics? Well, let's travel back in time to ancient Egypt. You might be surprised to learn that their methods were incredibly advanced for their time, and some even had a real scientific basis. The Egyptians were meticulous record keepers, and thanks to papyri, like the Edwin Smith Papyrus, which is basically an ancient medical textbook, we have a fascinating window into their world of medicine. So, if an Egyptian worker got injured building a pyramid, what happened next? First, they'd clean the wound. This is step one for us today, and it was for them too. They would use water, but often they'd also use wine. Now, this wasn't just for show. The alcohol in wine acts as a disinfectant, killing bacteria and preventing infection. They understood the importance of cleanliness, even if they didn't know about germs in the way we do. Next came the dressing. This is where things get really interesting. Forget simple bandages. The Egyptians had a whole pharmacy of natural remedies. One of the most common treatments was to apply a mixture of honey and grease to the wound. Honey is a superfood for your skin. It's naturally antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. It creates a protective barrier, keeps the wound moist, which helps with healing. And its high sugar content draws out water from bacteria, effectively killing them. Scientists today are actually studying honey for its wound healing properties. So the Egyptians were definitely onto something. For deeper cuts that needed to be closed, they didn't have modern sutures, but they had their own version. They would use linen thread, sometimes made from flax, to stitch up the wound. For smaller cuts, they might use a form of surgical tape, applying a piece of linen with a sticky, tree sap-based adhesive to hold the edges of the skin together. Another common material for dressing a wound was fresh meat. Yes, you heard that right. They would place a slab of fresh meat on an open wound. The logic was that fresh meat would help to staunch the bleeding. While it might sound strange to us, the idea was that the meat would encourage blood to clot. It was a form of early hemostasis. After the first day, they would remove the meat and switch to the honey and grease dressing to prevent infection. The Egyptians also used various plants and minerals. For instance, willow leaves and bark, which contains salicylic acid, the active ingredient in aspirin, were used to reduce pain and inflammation. They also used moldy bread as a poultice on infected wounds. This is fascinating because certain molds produce penicillin, a powerful antibiotic. Of course, they had no idea what penicillin was, but through trial and error, they observed that it worked. It was a lucky, yet brilliant, discovery. To keep the dressing in place, they would use bandages made of linen strips. Egyptian mummies are famous for their linen wrappings, and this same material was used for the living. They were skilled at bandaging, ensuring the dressing was secure but not too tight. But what if a wound got infected anyway? The Egyptians recognized the signs of infection, describing wounds that were inflamed, hot, and oozing pus. Their treatments for this were also quite specific. They might try to drain the infection, and then apply poultices made from things like figs, dates, or even frankincense, which has antiseptic properties. Of course, not every treatment was a success. They were dealing with serious injuries without the benefit of modern surgical tools, anesthesia, or a full understanding of microbiology. Infections were still a major cause of death, but their approach was surprisingly systematic and rational. They observed, they documented, and they passed down their knowledge. So, the next time you put a simple band-aid on a cut, take a moment to appreciate the thousands of years of medical innovation that came before. The ancient Egyptians, with their honey, wine, and fresh meat, were true pioneers, laying some of the very first foundations for the medicine we rely on today. Their ingenuity is a powerful reminder that wisdom can be found in the most ancient of places. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey back in time interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into history. See you next time.